I'll fly a starship across the universe divide, and when I reach the other side,
Welcome all my saber friends. This is the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Over here in the US, we celebrate Thanksgiving on a Thursday. Friday is the Black Friday where everyone goes out to the mall. I did go to the mall yesterday. I bought some clothes and stuff, nothing Star Wars related or any toys or anything like that. But it was crazy out at the mall. There's a bunch of things I wanted to talk about today. Today is a celebration. This channel has been around, Space Windu channel has been around since like 2008. I started this channel to show my saber friends on FX sabers, like projects I was working on or sabers that had come in through the mail, you know, like sabers I ordered, and I would review them and unbox them and figure out what's wrong with them if something was broken, and maybe even make new sabers. 2010 or so started to make like custom sabers out of like handmade parts, handmade parts from the custom saber shop that I would file down the shrouds and make multi-shroud lightsabers and stuff like that. And I just wanted to share that stuff with my friends. So that's where this channel started from. So we're celebrating 3,000 subscribers on this channel. I never really thought that would happen. When 2,500 happened a few months ago or last year, I thought that was the most that I would ever get. So thank you everybody for 3,000. I love you all. 3,000, of course, for that milestone. So it's been a lot of fun getting here. We have a lot more to go. I'm going to show you guys a bunch more crazy stuff this coming year. This past year, we made a 800 LED blade, the most pixel RGB LEDs ever in a blade. Earlier this year, we made the Pentastar, which had 600 LEDs in 5 strips. And, that's over and above the Quad Star, right? So I got my TriStar shirt. That was one of the things I wanted to talk about today, too. Which is the merch store has opened, and I've going to start wearing all my civilized sabers and Space Windu merch, because you can pick like whatever color you want and use, a bunch of different designs. I'll show you in a couple minutes what that looks like. But yeah, so TriStar has 3 strips of RGB pixel LEDs, and then QuadStar there's a shirt for QuadStar too. QuadStar has 4 strips, and Pentastar, we just playing around, trying to experiment with different stuff, different things, and Pentastar came about, which is 5 strips. And then I found a way through the Cobb LEDs, which are like stacked, silicone covered, smaller pixels, and those come like really pushed together on the strip, so you get a super dense strip. And that's how we came up with the TriStar Omega, which has 800 LEDs inside one blade. So I'm going to show you guys more about the TriStar Omega for people that are interested in, like, just the craziest, like, cutting edge lightsaber blades and stuff. There's a lot more to talk about there, because I just did an intro video and that was like all I did. So I plan on, doing a video where we talk about that like a lot more, because that's like just a crazy blade, very lightweight. It's a TriStar, but it is TriStar Omega, which means, we got those dense Omega style COB strips in there, and really crazy. The other thing I wanted to talk about today, and we'll go through all this stuff in more detail, is the launch of my comic book. So we did a comic book, my friend and I, my friend Kevin. He's an artist as well. I've always been into comic book art and drawn comics and stuff. That's kind of like my first love. So I came up with this story based on a story that Kevin started about 25 years ago. And we've been, maybe over the past 15 years, me and Kevin have been kind of polishing this story and, making it into comic book form. And we have a couple issues out already, but we're about to come out with issue number 3. So that just launched today, actually, at noon. So I'll give you guys a link if you want to go check that out, and we'll take a close look at that. But I just wanted to give you an overview of what we're gonna talk about. It's kind of a celebration, like I said. So let's see here. Got a couple of friends popped in. JT Lovecraft, what's going on, my friend? We hit 3K around the same time. Must be Skynet. Congrats, and Civilized Sabers team. You deserve it. Thanks so much, my friend. That's awesome. Thank you. Congrats to you too. 3,000 is really awesome number. Got a lot of friends on YouTube. That is a lot of fun. Solo Sabers, Jeremy, yo, congratulations, man. Thank you so much. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Yeah, hit 3,000 like a week or so ago, and then decided to do a live stream to not only celebrate that, but talk about a couple of these other breakthroughs as well. I think like the merch thing was a breakthrough for me, because I was trying to set up that store for a while, and finally figured out how to do it with the help of my cousin. So he was helping me. My cousin designed this TriStar logo right here. I've got a TriStar, QuadStar, and Pentastar versions of this. And I've also got the logos designed by Gin and Tonic. So I've got like Space Windu logos designed by Gin and Tonic with TriStar, QuadStar, Pentastar. I think he even has a Dual Star Omega on there as well. Different logos for the different blades, different kind of style shirts and stuff like that. So some of them are like pretty cool. And I ordered a hat as well, because I figured, like, it's kind of hard to see when I do these. I actually switched my camera. I'm trying to adjust my camera because it's not very straight though. I'm trying to adjust my camera because I wanted like my shirt in the shot. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not the easiest thing to change the camera. Hopefully it doesn't shake too much because it's like in a different spot. Hopefully my desk doesn't shake that. But I figured a better spot for like you guys seeing something, like if I wore something with like my comic book logo on it or something, would be a hat. So I ordered a hat with with my comic book logo, Orange Book Comics on the hat. So that'll be good. And then there's Space Windu hats and stuff I'll show you. Mundo is in the chat. What's going on, buddy? I saw that you were hunting earlier. Hail Space Windu, hail all Mundo in the house. What's up, Mundo? Hail Mundo. Congrats, Space. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, Mundo is actually in my comic book. He is a bartender in one of the bars, in one of the, there's like a couple like city-state areas that are kind of at war sometimes. One of them is called Pikeburg. Mundo hangs out in Pikeburg with his bar. El Mundo's, and there's actually El Mundo's merch, so I'll show you. Actually, I don't think I have that. El Mundo's merch isn't connected yet, but it will be at some point. Only the Civilized Sabers and Space Windu artwork is connected to this link, but I'll show you the Mundo stuff. It's really awesome. The one, like my favorite thing in the Mundo's merch is the backpack. Do I have that up here? Oh, no, I don't have that. I gotta like show you guys the backpack. It's so cool. Oh, it's like 20% off right now. I'm gonna have to get more backpacks. Like I ordered one of these backpacks. It's upstairs. I'll show you. I'm gonna share the link. It's crazy. Because like Mundo's thing at his bar in my comic is that like his drinks are like kind of deadly because the world that all the characters live in is like so deadly. They're living in like a world without a sun, so it just totally sucks for everybody, and everybody's like infested with this nanotech. It's kind of like it's a future story, you know, so it's like the 29th century. It's like 700 years from now, and everybody's infested with this nanotech, and some people like just don't want to go on. So some of the drinks can like kill you, like at Mundo's bar at El Mundo's, like some of the drinks, like people drink them just to prove how tough they are, because some of the drinks, like check out this backpack. Isn't that sweet? It's based on the art that's on the left there, and it's also, because check this out, because like there's actually Mundo's shot glasses. There's actually Mundo's shot glasses that go with this. So like you can actually get this backpack in my comic book campaign as well. I'll show you a little later, but yeah. So some of the drinks at Mundo's can actually kill a person if they're not like strong enough. You know, there's drinks called the solar flare. There's drinks called the nuclear meltdown. Like they got like dangerous chemicals in them and shit. They got like nuclear materials in them. You know, people are maybe trying to get rid of some of like the nanotech, but like the nanotech's helping the people survive. Like it's super cold. Nanotech helps them if they get a cut or if their heart goes out, then like the nanotech like jump starts their heart and stuff like that. Oh yeah, Mundo says he is at the ranch. He's at the ranch hunting. Yeah, Mundo, the backpack is pretty sweet. What's going on, Kev? Kev is here. This is my partner in crime with this comic book. Kevin is an awesome artist. He says this solar flare biatch. Yeah, that'll like kill a weak person. There's like normal drinks too. There's like beers. I forget what the beers are called. There's like something like beer, you know. It's like they can't really do barley and stuff like that and like oats, but it's like too desolate out in the future there. Yeah, whiskey. It's whiskey. Yeah, so Mundo, you know, on Mundo Monday, this is the one. Where's the thing we play on Mundo Monday? Sometimes on Mundo Monday we will play this clip. You guys might know this clip.
In here, me pour a whiskey.
That's Mundo's bar. That's Mundo's bar over in Pikeburg. Yeah, so like there's a bunch of these there's a bunch of like these shirts, t-shirts, sweatshirts and stuff. You can get like hoodies with where did my link go? There's a bunch that you could get. I'm gonna put the link. Where can I put the link? I'm gonna try to share the link with you guys for this backpack. It's so sweet. Maybe if I gotta open a different window here, but yeah, like that's all hosted on one certain site, and I want to like maybe get some of that merch onto my merch page because it's just it's pretty awesome. Like I like the Orange Book Comics logo hat that I'm getting too. Can't wait to show you guys that. Where is yeah, I've got to like, I can't just share the link the normal way because it won't work. Okay, I'm gonna put the link for that. Anybody that wants to check out that backpack, it's on this site called Redbubble, so it's gonna be like weird, really. Oh no, you know what? It's too long. Shit, the link's too long. Can't put the link in there. Well, I'll put the link in the description. I'll put the link in the description for that. It's so sweet. Actually, really good quality too. I ordered one of them. All right. Well, that link should be in the description. Anyone wants to look at that. But let me show you the merch that is actually connected to my YouTube now. It's pretty sweet. So it is like if you watch like any video, I mean, you guys are probably seeing this on other people's channels. If you watch this on, if you watch like any video of mine, now there will appear some t-shirts and stuff below it. Here we go. Let's just share this video.
It's got the photonic green tip.
It's just like a
photonic green tube, which accentuates green light.
Video I did.
It's also a tri-star, which means it's got 350 LEDs inside this blade in 3 strips. So a normal NeoPixel blade will have 2 strips. This is a tri-star. It's got 3 strips in there for a total of nearly.
So you scroll down.
LEDs. Let's go ahead and turn it on and see.
And there's the merch.
Like.
Don't make me kill you.
It is pretty sweet. My cousin helped me connect this all together. So like, let's take a look at this. Now I'll share you this new screen here. I clicked on one of the shirts. This is a Space Windu logo that Gin and Tonic, my friend Jake from Instagram, he made this logo for me. It's like a Death Star, a Darth Vader with like a skull, Darth Vader, but instead of Darth Vader, it's like a skull. And then, you know, a lightsaber beam going through that is kind of like the Space Windu logo without words. And that's available. And I think Space Windu is also like on the back of it too, which is pretty cool. Like it looks cool on the t-shirts. This is that logo. When you're wearing it, like I have that shirt too. When you're wearing that, like it looks like that beam is glowing, like the print. It's so bright right there. It's kind of crazy. So this is obviously the women's version, but there's like different versions, and you could even pick like different backgrounds, different background colors. I was super excited to see that. I might get that white. Like that white one looks pretty cool. That white one looks cool. I think that didn't come through at first. Like my cousin had trouble. I think it was this logo. My cousin had trouble like getting that to be black in the logo on this website for a while. But you know, they have like the different premium hoodies, which is like what the one I'm wearing is like a premium one, which I like the quality of it. They have like a bit less expensive one that has like, the only thing I noticed, like I ordered that one too, and the only thing I noticed was like these like strings were like different, and I don't know if it really felt any different. Like I think it washed differently. Like the one that's not premium kind of um, didn't hold its shape as well after I washed it a bunch of times. Because that's actually the one I got first. I got like a logo printed on the normal sweatshirt. They had like thinner strings here. Let's see. There's a couple funny ones too. So if you guys like my stupid dad jokes, sometimes there are goofy. There's other goofy designs too. Where there's some that I'm gonna put up as well. Like there's some designs like from me. So let me see. Oh yeah, here we go. So I'm gonna get one of these hats too. I think like because I sit in the garage right here. I sit in the garage like when I do these shows, or even when I work like right next to here in the garage. So sometimes I wear a winter hat anyway, just even though I'm inside. So I think I'll just get a Space Windu hat. I got some Soy is Strong. The Soy is Strong with You shirts. If you got any soy boys in your life, you might wanna get a shirt, get a soy boy shirt. Dual Star. This is one of my cousin's designs. I really like that one. So that's like standard type of blade with 2 strips, Dual Star. You can duel with it. So that's why I spell it that way. It's not really spelled wrong. It's kind of the way I did it. This is a Darth Vader logo by Gin and Tonic. So it's part skeleton face, like part Darth Vader helmet. You get all those on different color shirts as well. Some Space Windu logos. Oh, these are cool. I got one of these so far, but I want to get like all of these. Quad Star, Pentastar, TriStar. Those are Gin and Tonic logos as well. Thought he did an awesome job. Kind of going off of the way I was doing it in my TriStar videos. At first I was like just drawing like a triangle. He made it look a lot more professional there. So, and I think it says Space Windu on the back of those. I think that's what mine is like. And then this is the one I'm wearing here. So I got this one, but I changed the color. So I changed the color to this blue. I thought the blue was pretty sweet. What else is there? I want to have my cousin probably delete the binary star one because I call it Dual Star is what I call it. Yeah, this shirt's good. It says 80% cotton, 20% polyester for the premium one. It's pretty nice. I got the large. That's the one I'm wearing. Okay. Gylo Ren is here. What's going on? He says, congrats on the subs. Anthony, milestone achieved. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you're having a great Saturday. Hope you're having a great weekend, everybody. Mundo says, getting a Mundo shirt in today. Oh, awesome. Yeah. Yeah, Mundo. Well, you'll have to wear it on Monday night when we do the live stream. We're going to do a live stream from Comic Book Creation. No, it's Orange Book Comics LLC channel. We're going to do a Comic Book Creation Mundo's live show on Monday night. So it'll be like Monday at like, I don't know, maybe 9 or 10 Eastern on Monday. You have to wear that when you come through, Mundo. You're going to get a Space Window one too. Nice. A dark helmet and yogurt to go. Yeah, I got some shirt designs that I've been designing over the years that I want to like get on here. Like some of them are funny, some of them are like these, like having to do with like some of the blades and some of the sabers and products and stuff. So there'll be like different ones added. So I thought that was exciting because I wasn't sure that I was having trouble with that, and I wasn't sure that that was going to happen. And then I must have did something right because I woke up one day and it was there. It was like on the videos, like I showed you. So that was awesome. That was good. Anybody? Let me know if you guys want to talk about Andor. I was watching Andor. That was one of the ones I was keeping up with, and I was telling Mundo I started to watch the Tales of the Jedi, but I couldn't get into it. The first episode was hard for me to deal with. But Andor, I was having fun the entire time. I was having it. I was kind of on the edge of my seat a little bit. I thought the writing was very, very good on that show, and it seemed to be very consistent as well, and also provide a bunch of stuff I probably didn't even notice either, but a bunch of like Easter egg type stuff for like, if you're a fan of George Lucas, like the THX 1138 movie like episodes, which were like maybe was it 7, 8, and 9, or 6, 7, and 8, the episodes where like Andor's in jail. So I like talking about, is this camera crooked? I like talking about it when the show is like got some mystery to it and some kind of suspense. There was a lot of plotting. There was a lot of Empire, seeing both sides. Like that was one of the great things about Star Wars. You saw both sides of the engagement. You saw what the good guys were doing, and then in Empire Strikes Back, they really brought it in about equally, where you saw the Empire, what they were plotting, what they were doing, what the higher ups were discussing. You also saw the leaders of the rebellion and what they were plotting and the different things that they wanted to accomplish. You saw it from both sides, and that kind of continued on in Return of the Jedi. You saw what the Emperor was doing. You saw him speaking to Lord Vader a lot, and you saw what they were plotting to do. And then you saw what the rebels were plotting to do. They were kind of going up against the impossible. You kept being shown how impossible it was by seeing the bad guys discussing all the different, technology they had, and how their equipment was going to be operational before, like as a surprise. So before anyone could kind of realize it. Right. And, you really got the whole picture. And I thought that that's what was happening in the Andor show as well. So when you watch Andor, you kind of get the Empire's side of things. You are introduced to people who are like, I guess, I don't know if they're evil, but they're, the bad guys. They're caught up in the Empire. You see the side of like Mon Mothma plotting and what she's doing and the sacrifices that she's making to kind of, kickstart this rebellion, and the difficult nature of all the different things that they're trying to do, and how the Empire is making it difficult because they're blocking funds. They are, putting more scrutiny upon all the movements of all the people who are suspicious. It is really, really intense when some of those scenes happen. Like there was a scene toward the end of the series. So if you guys don't want to know what happens now, you might not want to listen to the rest that I'm going to say, but something happens. I think it's episode. It's like the second to last episode. So whether that be 11 or 10, whatever is like the second to last episode, is there's a character named Luthen, and he's part of the rebellion. He seems to be like the main leader. You know, it's kind of the one who the Empire's after. Like, they don't really want the small people as much. Like, they'll take care of the small people. You know, Andor has some friends, and they interrogate those friends trying to find Andor. And they're really after Andor, but they're really, really after whoever's making Andor do things, right? Like, whoever's Andor's boss. So that's who they're kind of looking for, like this guy who's organizing stuff, and Mon Mothma is helping that guy. So there's only a couple people that know who this guy is, and they're calling him Axis. Like, he's what everyone moves around. He's what all the rebels move around, and he's who all the rebels listen to. That there's different rebel cells at this point. It's like very loose. It's very unstructured. They're trying to kind of bring it together. That's the whole point of this show, Andor, is they're trying to kind of bring together all the different cells of the rebellion, at least to operate independently but together, so that there's like some kind of outcome that's achieved. Although they seem to be pretty well pleased, even if things don't go completely right. At least they're disrupting the Empire. They're pretty pleased about disrupting the Empire. But there's this scene toward the end of the second to last episode of the series where this guy Luthen, who is actually cornered by an Empire ship, and the ship is almost like a Star Destroyer shape. It's like that triangle shape, but it's much, much smaller. And our hero is in a ship that's sort of like a not like a Millennium Falcon, really, not that big, and not as small as an X-wing, but he's something in between, where it's got some capabilities to it, and it's almost like a transformer in a sense, where some of the wings can fold out, like an X-wing can fold in and out, and these wings fold a certain way, I guess, for aerodynamics or space dynamics, whatever. And there's this one scene where now they got him kind of cornered. This ship that they have, although it's not a Star Destroyer, it's not a big Star Destroyer, it's more than a match for this guy Luthen's sort of fighter ship or whatever he has. It's like something bigger than a fighter, but something smaller than a bomber, something like that. And he, the Empire's got him cornered basically, because they're on the nose of this Empire ship is like a dish that supports the tracking beam. So I was getting really, really amped up when all the little details that they were showing you. He's flipping switches. He's talking to the ship's droid helper, and the ship is preparing for this escape. He's going to try to escape, but the Empire's got him in a tractor beam. The Empire's commanding him to, I guess, turn off his engines and such, and he's flipping a bunch of switches, kind of giving them excuses over the radio, saying, I can't hear you well, or I'm trying to shut down the engine, something's wrong. And it's starting to build suspense, right? And the entire show is kind of like this, where it's not the fastest moving thing ever, but it's suspenseful. So as this guy, who is our hero, he's like the leader of the Rebel Alliance, we think he is, flipping all these switches, he's making plans, he's getting some kind of weapon ready. And I start to think, is this like the books? Is this like what they did in the book sometimes, where they're under it's like expanded universe stuff? And I remember a moment, I don't remember who, maybe like Jaina Solo, who's Leia's daughter and stuff. I think something maybe involving her, maybe it was involving Luke, where there's a tractor beam on the ship and they let loose some bombs or some missiles, and the tractor beam pulls the missiles into the enemy ship, right? And it's like a trick. It's like they get they get bombarded, and they really did it to themselves. They sucked in the missiles. So he starts doing what I think is that, and that's kind of what happens. He sets up like kind of like this missile launch bay that ejects out the top of the ship, and like 19 missiles fly out, and they're helped to their target by the tracking beam. When he finally destroys the tracking dish, he is able to like transform his wings a little bit, and I guess he's getting ready for some kind of hyperspace jump. But the Empire ship has released some fighters like at the last minute, some TIE fighters, and they are going after. The ship is very close, right? It was being tractor beamed in. It's not that far away. They are closing in fast on Luthen, on his ship, which, like I said, doesn't seem to be a fighter, but it is maneuverable, and it becomes crazy. It becomes like crazy extra maneuverable when the wings fold in. The TIE fighters get kind of close to him, and like laser beams come out, which are like lightsaber blades, come out of the wings as he's turning in like in a spin. Spinning is a good trick, and he spins, and the lightsabers. This is the only time you're going to see lightsabers in the show. I didn't think I was going to see lightsabers, but this is what it looked like. It was like those lightsabers destroyed the TIE fighters. That's how close they were. The TIE fighters were so close that they sliced up the TIE fighters, or maybe they were like longer lasers, and he was doing a spin, and it sliced up those TIE fighters, and then he got away. And this shit was like, it wasn't even I was satisfied. You know what? I thought that was the last episode. Like, I didn't know how long the series was. I didn't do my research. And like, if I'm watching Game of Thrones, I know like exactly how many episodes there is, and I'm watching, and whatever it is, like, it's really important to me. I know, oh, there's 12 episodes, or there's 10 episodes, or there's 7 episodes. This one I didn't know, and I thought that this was like the finale. I was completely satisfied with that. Then I find out there's another episode that comes after. So that's just like, an example of what can happen, like what the payoff could be. And that episode, granted, that probably had the best payoff out of the entire series, but there are like small payoffs in the other episodes. I could see that some people might find it hard to like get through, like especially the prison episodes, I think, because like I was super into it. But I can see both sides. Like, I could see another side to it where it could be like boring, because they, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that there was 3 episodes where he's in prison, and it's like an awful prison. Now, the one cool thing about it was that everything looked real. All the sets looked like it didn't look like CGI. It didn't look like they're just walking on the floor and everything else is digital. It looked like they could interact with the set. It was like there was a prison cell. Each man had their own prison cell. It looked like it was built. They could have fooled me, but that's what it looked like. It was built. It had LED lights, something that some of us like custom saber builders might have liked to get involved with, like making. The other cool thing, in regards to that, was inside the prison, they're forced to kind of build things, and you find out in the last episode like what they were actually creating. But each prisoner is like responsible for building and building something. Everything's timed. If you don't do it at a certain fast speed, they'll shock you with electricity and stuff. And it was a lot like that THX 1138 movie. I saw it like 20 years ago, but I think there was a lot of similarities there. Everyone's dressed in white in the prison. It's like an oppressive situation, like an oppressive state, like in THX 1138. There was those energy batons. I thought that was part of that movie too. When I was talking to Jedi Arms Dealer, he was telling me that they also had the electric floor in the movie. I didn't remember that. But yeah, that was like, huge sort of honor that they paid George Lucas there. an homage to that movie, like the first George Lucas directed movie. And they actually spent a lot of time there, like 3 episodes. So I can see that people might get like bogged down and like thinking that wasn't moving fast enough, but there was progress. Like I saw progress happening in the story as it unfolded, even though it was like very slow progress. Like at one point you have Cassian Andor who kind of sneaks away to the bathroom to kind of start like jiggling pipes in the bathroom. But then, he only has 30 seconds to use the bathroom. So he has to come back and continue the work. And then the next day, which is like the next episode or whatever, he's doing it again, jiggling them pipes and coming back and having to rush back to work and stuff. But it eventually gets somewhere, it leads somewhere. They are going to try and bust out of this awful prison with the help of one of the sort of, not a warden of the prison, but one of the prisoners itself, themselves are in charge of other prisoners, kind of as a job. They have a job that they have to watch these other prisoners and make sure that they do their work. And they're also part of the crew. They have to crank away at these machines and stuff. And one of them was Golem himself, Snoke, Andy Serkis. So he really put everything he had into that role. He was like screaming. He was very energized. He was very emotional. He was very loud. It really made it feel real. Like it wasn't like he was just acting. Like he really threw himself into it, which I guess he always does in the role, like if he has that opportunity. But it was pretty intense, I thought. And I had a fun time, just sitting through it. I found myself not being able to really blink, not being able to really look away. JT says, you got to watch Tales 2, 3, and 4. It's Jedi Dooku with Qui-Gon as his Padawan. Okay. How many episodes are there of this Tales of the Jedi overall? Is there 10? Or are there like, it's going to continue? Is it going to continue with another series? Because I think Mundo told me this too. He said, it gets better after 1. We were talking on the phone. He said, that Tales of the Jedi, you got to wait. And considering that there's lightsabers in it, I always told myself, if there's lightsabers, like no matter how goofy that it looked to me, that if there's lightsabers, I would watch. So that's a good enough reason. There's lightsabers in it. You got Jedi Dooku with Qui-Gon. Now Qui-Gon's like my favorite character. He's my favorite. He's my favorite like Jedi Master, I guess you could say. And the fact that you can see him as a Padawan, that might be pretty cool. And I did hear the ones with Dooku were good. I heard that, yeah. Mundo says, especially when you see the Senator was plotting. Yeah, in the show Andor, it's very Game of Thrones like, seeing the plotting. Because you even have family members turning on each other. You have family members kind of, I wouldn't say turning each other in, but like, might as well. Pretty darn close to like turning each other in. They're certainly plotting heavily. Windows says, inside of it has components of the Falcon. Oh, was it that there's a shop in the show? Now that main character, Luthen, who is like the rebel leader, he has a lot of different disguises. And yeah, like that is pretty cool. Mundo says it's like Catch Me If You Can. Yeah, and he has one of his disguises is how the Senator Mothma comes upon him every time when she wants to meet with him. he appears at this like antique store, and so she thinks he's this antique store owner, and I'm sure that there's Easter eggs abound like inside the store, but I couldn't really spot anything. Mundo says there's components of the Falcon. Jedi Arms Dealer said that he saw, I think, Sith armor from the Force Unleashed game. I think that's what he had told me was hiding in there. So yeah, there's definitely Easter eggs in there for sure. Chuck, what's going on, Chuck? Chuck Alvarado is here. They're short, I think 10. Okay. 10 episodes. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, I'll check those out. You know what I didn't like about the first one was just the fact that I don't like, these prequel stories are really getting out of control, like because you kind of know what happened. So unless you're like very clever, it's hard to make that suspenseful, like when you have someone who lives, like Ahsoka, to threaten the baby Ahsoka. It became silly because it's like that was the main plot. Like the baby Ahsoka is threatened in the first episode, and not only that, but she's being threatened by like a tiger who has like a big teeth and jaws, and he's carrying around the baby Ahsoka in his mouth with no explanation to why he just doesn't eat her immediately. The only reason why he doesn't eat her, this tiger, is because Ahsoka grows up to be Ahsoka. And that's how I saw it. There was no suspense at all. It's just like, oh, stupid. It's like, oh, the mother's worried about Ahsoka baby. Well, you don't need to be, because she grows up to be Ahsoka, right? But yeah, everyone's kind of telling me that after the first 2 episodes, it gets better. What's going on, Sam? Grayscale Fonts is here. Hi, Anthony. Congrats on 3,000 subscribers. Can't wait to get my hands on some prints of Albatross Junction. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, I will drop the link in. I think I put the link in the description, but you know what? I'll drop it in the chat too. The link for Albatross Junction, which is my sci-fi comic book. Kevin and I, my buddy Kev, I can't put it in there. I got to put it in over here. I'm going to put the link in the chat. This is an Indiegogo link, and that takes you to the Indiegogo campaign, which actually has not only the newest comic. Let me know if that works the way I put the link in. I'm not sure if it'll work, but that should take you to the Indiegogo page, which actually not only has the newest comic book, but the other 2 issues as well. So there's 3 issues out altogether. I'll show you guys. I'll share my screen here so you can see what I'm talking about. This is the campaign here for Albatross. Let's refresh this. I think Kevin made an edit or something. So you will, this is like the icon. You will see it. You could just search for Albatross Junction on Indiegogo. You'll see my 2 campaigns. This is the newest one, and this one has the first issue. That's that right there. The second issue. That's that right there. And then this is the newest issue, issue 3. So that's a continuation of the story. It's a sci-fi story that Kevin came up with probably like 25 years ago or so, and then we've been really polishing it for probably the past like 15 years, formulating it into comic book form, and we came up with a lot of like concept art and designs and things, getting ready for the issue 1 launch last year. And we actually have we're gonna have a making of book coming out probably next year, which is going to be like all that concept art, a lot of the prep drawings. We were kind of like getting ready for this for a number of years. So we have a lot of unused. We even have like a lot of unused pages and things like that. So a lot of times we'd be drawing and we come up with a better idea for a page. So we would have sort of a backup, so we have some deleted scenes, so to speak. So we're going to do like a making a book probably along when issue number 4 and 5 comes out next year. For now, this is going to release in everyone's going to get their books shipped in February. So the campaign just launched today. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to come on and talk to you guys, was to announce this comic book as well. Let me see if I can. One of the tiers includes anybody that wants like the original book. This is like a more of a graphic novel, contains like some of that making of stuff I was telling you about, where it's like concept art and stuff is in the back here. Some deleted scenes, some explanations for some of the characters and storylines and stuff. And this actually contains issue 1 and 2. So for anybody that wants the original first printing, this is available in limited quantity, I think 50. So this is available. Then we're going to do a printing of, just issues 1, 2, and 3 separately as well. So you can check that out through the link that I posted there in the chat. Hopefully that does work. Sam says, I totally agree about the Ahsoka episode. I almost didn't keep watching the show. Yeah, like that's kind of what happened to me, was I stopped. And then Mundo told me that they got better. And Chuck's now saying, telling me they got better, especially with those like JT's saying with the Dooku Qui-Gon. Like the Qui-Gon lightsaber is like my favorite lightsaber probably. So, and I like Qui-Gon's outlook, Qui-Gon's view of the Force and stuff. So like it plays into, like, if you guys read the expanded universe, there's a war with aliens called the Yuzong Vong War, which takes place like, I guess it's like 15, maybe it's like 20 years after Return of the Jedi, something like that. There's a whole book series. It's like 19 books. And like, there was a little bit of a tie-in between, there was sort of a loose tie-in between like Qui-Gon and like what happens with the Force sort of at the end of that series, at least a connection I made. So I really like Qui-Gon's outlook, Qui-Gon's like use of the Force. He always talks about the living Force. It's kind of the first clue we get that there's like different aspects of the Force. It's not just like the Force. So I don't know if you guys know that, but it's not just like the Force out there. It's like there's different Force. There's the unifying Force. There's the living Force. And I think there's a third one. Can't really remember it right now, but they go through it in the books where like the unifying Force is like all encompassing, if I remember correctly. The living Force is the one that's like based on living beings and stuff, more like the one like Yoda talks about a lot in Empire Strikes Back. Because by that time, Yoda and Obi-Wan are sort of more on the side of, like, they're more on the side of like the way Qui-Gon thought about things, right? And they just recently, we got more info on that when we saw the Obi-Wan show, because like, well, episode 3 kind of lays the groundwork for that, where the very last scenes of episode 3 are Yoda, saying that they're going to start some kind of tutelage under Qui-Gon, right? And it confuses Obi-Wan for a second, but he's explained that, that they can commune with the dead there. So Qui-Gon's going to help him do something by the time we get to the Empire Strikes Back. They've done a lot right behind the scenes to maybe train in the living Force more, maybe get in touch with the living Force more. That's probably why Yoda like talks like the way he does in Empire versus like, isn't he kind of like, I don't know, like in episode 3 when like Anakin goes to him for help and he kind of Yoda tells him to like just disregard those thoughts of like losing someone. That's really hard, right? I mean, that's not very good advice. That's like weird advice, but I don't think that's the same advice like the Empire Strikes Back Yoda would be giving. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think he had like kind of changed his tune by then a little bit. Oh, Chuck, thank you. He says it's working. It's working. It's working. Who's Andy? Let's see. Andy was extremely well written for the character and he brought his A game. Oh, Andy Serkis, yeah. Oh yeah. That was cool. It was kind of, kind of sad at the end too. Sad kind of what happens to him or what's implied. But that's what happens sometimes when it's kind of like didn't look like many people survived what happened at the prison. Grayscale Font says, I am 100% going with Ground Zero perk. I'm going to need those original prints. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Thank you. I've never read a comic book before, say for Calvin and Hobbes as a teenager. So this is all new territory for me. Oh, awesome. Yeah. I mean, I've showed my first couple issues to people I've never read comic books before. And I think it's pretty easy to get a grasp of. It's like you kind of read from like left to right, and then you go down, and then you go left to right, and then you go down, you go left to right. Unless the picture is like taking up the entire page, right? Then it's kind of like diagonally, like reading diagonally from left to right. Sometimes it's a double page spread. Still from left to right, you might see like something going across both pages. But part of the fun too is like sometimes when I'm reading comics, like if I get it a little bit wrong, like I go to like a panel that I thought was next, and then I have to go back. It kind of just benefits because you can just like you can kind of get the story from every angle, like you read a little ahead, kind of go back. That happens when I read books too, is like I read a paragraph and then realize like my mind was drifting, and then I have to I'm like, I should read that paragraph again because like I was thinking about the previous chapter or something. I was thinking about something else, mine was wandering, kind of go back and reread the paragraph. Same thing with a comic. Like if you find yourself like that makes sense, like maybe there was like a panel you missed or something. That can happen. That can totally happen. That can totally happen. There was one more thing. What was else I can say about that comic? Yeah, like so, there was a few people that got it last year, like Mundo, who ordered the the original book. It had issues 1 and 2 in it. So there's also tiers available where you could just like, for someone like Mundo, maybe he just wants issue number 3 because he's already got issue 1 and 2. You could get issue number 3 like all on its own now. So that's how we're going to do it, like going forward too. Like if when issue 4 comes out, you'll be able to buy just issue 4. You don't have to buy like all of them over again if you don't want to. That's kind of how that will go down. So if Dooku is in those episodes with Qui-Gon, like what does the series kind of end on? Did they end on like the main characters like Obi-Wan and Anakin or something? Tales of the Jedi, that series? I think they're all shorter episodes too. They're not like half-hour episodes, because I remember when I watched the first one, it didn't seem like a full half hour. Andor is longer. Andor is like more like I don't know, 40, maybe 50 minutes. I think the last Andor, the finale, was longer. It seemed like it was an hour to me. And again, it seemed like there was real sets. Like that was really cool. Like it seemed like they had built this town square where they kind of, I guess Andor grew up there. They showed a planet where the young Andor was from, but he got taken away, and I'm assuming this area is where he basically grew up. And they had built this, like, it's like a town square. I mean, they had like a bunch of buildings and an intersecting street, and it was like a dirt road and stuff. But it, an interesting look to the buildings, looked alien enough. Different Star Wars stuff looked like it aligned with episode 4. That's the time frame it's supposed to be, basically a couple years before episode 4. And they had this progression through the entire thing, where you even find out what they were kind of building in the prison. They give you a little extra scene at the end, and they show you like what they actually had something to do with the robots. Like there was like robots like setting up, I don't know, solar panels or something on the Death Star, right? And I guess I think they were building those robots like in that prison. But there was a heist. There was a couple episodes where there was like a heist. Now those seemed a little bit slow to me in Andor. Those heist episodes. There was like episode maybe 2, 3, and 4, maybe 3, 4, and 5, something like that. There was a couple slow moments there, but there was a sweet laser gun battle. Like a pew pew type blaster battle in Andor that took place like after this heist, or during this heist that they were doing, setting up for it multiple episodes, and there's like GTA, Grand Theft Auto. They got to like go over here and do a mission to get something and kind of build all these parts to this main mission, which was going to be this heist. And they're going to perform this heist on the Empire. There ends up being this kind of handheld like gun battle at the end, like small arms battle, and that to me felt like totally 80s. It was like V. I don't know if anyone here is old enough to have seen V. It's like an alien type show back in the 80s, and I just remember there was like sweet laser gun battles, like, and this really felt like that. You felt that it was real, because some of these characters you had been following, they were falling down dead. People were getting shot. Lasers were flying by people. Not that many people made it out alive. There's some sad things that were going on in that laser gun battle, but just the tactical nature of it, you could tell that some people were they weren't very experienced with warfare. They were there doing like a technical task, so that was tough to watch. Like if somebody got hurt or one of the characters died, they weren't really a warrior per se. But then there was other people who were like soldiers, and they were only soldiers. They were there to do a job of other people in the process of turning from Empire to Rebel. So a lot of interesting things going on, and you really saw a lot of real, what looked like real objects in Andor. Like the one thing that looked real to me, but I know it probably wasn't, was couldn't be, right, was the car. Like Mon Mothma had like a sweet like Cadillac, and it would pull into Luthen's store right outside his antique store, and it was like a Cadillac. It was like a Rolls Royce, but speeder style, like, so the type of speeder that Anakin stole in episode 2, and he's driving Obi-Wan around in that sports car. Well, there's other types of cars out, right, too. There's cars flying all around. One of the cars calling them Jedi Poodoo and stuff like that. And there's all different types of cars. One brand, I guess, makes like a Cadillac, and Mon Mothma rides in the back of this Cadillac, and it just looks so sweet. Like, people are out there like looking for these details. Like you can get a lot from Andor, and that was one of the cool things. Like a lot of the newer stuff, sometimes it's almost ruined when you sit back and think about it. You're like, like this happened, and then that happened, and you're like, well, but wait a second. That's not making sense. Like, why'd they do that? That's the feeling you get from a lot of this. Like they didn't think it through, the writers. But with Andor, the dialogue was very sharp. The dialogue was snappy. The dialogue was intricate. The dialogue was like paced for that slow burn, giving you hints, dropping you clues, lots of dialogue, Lots of dialogue was dropped. Not too much stupid stuff in the dialogue, and it like meant something. So even though certain things, weren't the most action packed, like for instance the finale, to me, this protest or this funeral procession that started to happen was like a little boring and stuff, but it's a smaller situation than we had in episode 4. So episode 4 is the big bang, that's like where everything kicks off. So this type of thing is like these smaller steps that lead up to that. So like I said earlier, no lightsabers, right? No lightsabers except for those ones that were like, I think they were attached to the ship. Pretty crazy. At least I thought they were lightsabers. Maybe they were lasers, and Jedi Arms Dealer was, there's stuff in the show you could talk about. Like Jedi Arms Dealer and I were talking on the phone about this, and he thought that the lasers or the ship itself was probably powered by a kyber crystal, because at one point in the show, and I don't know if it's like explicitly said, but at one point in the show, Cassian Andor receives a necklace, sort of like Donnie Yen has in Rogue One. It's made of a kyber crystal. It's like a hunk of kyber crystal. It's worth, I think he says it's worth 30,000 credits, which is a shit ton of money in Star Wars episode 4 time frame. So he has something that's worth $30,000, which just happens to be a down payment for him to work for this guy Luthien, like do a rebel job for us, be part of this heist, and I'll let you hold on to this crystal. It's worth a lot. And I think there was a couple clues given to where like Jedi Arms Dealer said at one point he put a crystal into his ship, or he made a motion like the crystal powered the ship or something like that. So in that sense, it makes more sense, right? That if you say, well, there's lightsabers coming off the ship, what the hell? Well, his ship is powered by a kyber crystal. Oh, fuck. Okay. All right. Gotcha. Ship is powered by lightsaber crystal, therefore lightsabers come out the wings. Got it. It makes sense because they drop the clue about the lightsaber. All of us know, because we're in the lightsaber world, we know that a kyber crystal powers the saber. I guess anyone that watches Star Wars can connect it, especially since they're trying to connect Rogue One with this, and the kyber crystal was a huge plot point of Rogue One. So I guess that's another way to kind of show, hey, Cassian didn't just see kyber crystals in Rogue One for the first time, right? He actually like owned kyber crystal at one point. Sam says the series is sort of a collection of vignettes. It doesn't necessarily have a definitive end, not unlike Visions. Oh, okay. I mean, I liked Visions. It was very stylized and stuff. That was pretty cool. See all the different versions of what people think lightsabers are like in Visions, right? There was some Visions episodes that made it seem like the lightsaber had all the power, right? Like that's how they saw it. Sometimes it was like, oh, you pick up the lightsaber and now you can fight with it. Where we kind of know that by watching Star Wars, that that's not, it's not exactly how it goes down exactly. You don't just like able to fight once you pick up a lightsaber, like especially someone like Luke, he's kind of getting his ass handed to him for the first fight that he had, because it's not just about having the lightsaber, right? You got to do some training or whatever. But it was kind of funny in Visions how it brought in a lot more of like almost like force magic and connected it to lightsabers. What I think was a bit more than they did in the movies. It was pretty cool. Did you like Andor? Haven't touched it yet. Yeah, like you know what? I think, Sam, you would like it because of the audio. In your videos, you're always I always see your live streams, or like you're building a font and you're breaking down audio and stuff like that. So to my like naive ear, the audio sounds really good. And the way that they do all the sound effects and the way that they do all the background music satisfies me. So I would be interested to hear what like you would think of it, like if you because they say like the sound is such a big part of the experience. So I would always try to turn it up. I always try to, if I'm watching Star Wars, I would try to turn it up. Watching TV, even out here in the garage, I try to like blast it on my speakers. I actually have it turned up. To be honest, I have Disney Plus turned up all the way because for some reason Disney Plus sounds lower to me. Like it's like not, I mean, my ears aren't like the greatest, but it doesn't sound, it's not like, you turn on like HBO that you're like pumping the sound. Disney, you got to like bump it up a little bit on your end. So I think, it'd be interesting for me to hear what you thought about the audio of Andor, because I thought that was really satisfying to hear like that's a big part of it. The laser blasts during those like blaster pistol fights. It was sick. I mean, there was ricochets, there was like sound effects, there was like low musical themes when they were plotting and doing their machinations, both sides. I think you might be able to pick up some stuff that I didn't even pick up. Yeah, Mundo likes it. Mundo says Andor is awesome. And that was another thing. I liked the actor. I was familiar with Diego Luna from Narcos Mexico, and I'd recently watched, like maybe 3-4 months ago, watched like all the Narcos. It's like a drug show, so it's like they're chasing drug dealers in the show called Narcos. It's true stories though. It's true stories, but it's dramatized. It's dramatized, whatever the word is. It's like they did the first couple seasons of Narcos was Pablo Escobar being taken down, and then they moved to that was in Colombia, and then the 3rd, 4th, and 5th season, if I'm not mistaken, is this like, it's like called Narcos Mexico, and you have Diego Luna plays the main antagonist, and he's really good. So I got into him there. I was like, I really think this guy's intense. He's playing a good role here. This is good. The dialogue was really nice. So then when I saw that he was going to do this Andor show, I was pretty happy. I was pretty happy about it. I thought he was a good lead for that. But there's a lot of other characters to get into in Andor. To be honest, like Andor might be one of the more boring characters in the show. Like, although I'm trying to think about it, like he sets some stuff off. Like he's sort of the catalyst for, like, for instance, when, like I spoke about, they're in prison at one point, he kind of trying to convince people to, like, we got to break out of here. Yeah, he's a catalyst for that stuff, and he changes things. So I guess in that sense, he's a very impactful character. Like when he's there, things go differently. He has a big role to play. But as far as like his personality, like in the show, it's kind of flat. It's not like he's like not the most interesting person. Like I think Mon Mothma is more in her when you see her on screen. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot that she's she's got a lot of machinations going on. The gears are turning. She's got a couple friends too. Her husband, like Mon Mothma's husband, is an interesting character because you kind of see there's different political beliefs within the family, and you see that Mon Mothma has a daughter, and so you imagine, because you know where this is going, that like you never see like Mon Mothma's family again. You must assume that they got separated, she ran away, I don't know exactly, but you don't see like Mon Mothma's daughter or family in the movies, so you have to assume something's like, there's some tension there. There's every scene has something going on. They don't get along, and then the most interesting guy to me was this Luthen guy, who's this sort of rebel commander, loose loosely, labeled rebel commander. And he's got a lot of interesting aspects because every time you see him, he's got a different wig on, he's got a different haircut because he's got different clothes. He's trying to basically fool everybody. Like, even though he might be meeting with a rebel, like, as you know from the Rogue One movie, like, even when Cassian is meeting with a rebel, sometimes he's got to shoot him. You know what I'm saying? Like, they know too much. Same thing here. You got this guy Luthen, who he's a shady motherfucker. Like, you don't know if he's gonna meet with you to talk to you or meet with you to stab you. So he's got a lot of darkness going on there, and he's just trying to protect the cause. Like, he doesn't know who's a rat. Like, it's very dangerous when you don't know who's a rat and there's a lot at stake. So, when he's talking to people, even the rebels, you don't know if he's with them or against them sometimes, like, because what he's doing is kind of a next level, and everyone else that's like a rebel, so to speak, is kind of like working under him and getting tricked by him when he needs them. Like, he will dress up, like, for instance, like imagine I came on this live stream and I was like dressed up as somebody else, and I'm like, because I don't trust you or something like that. Like that's what he would do. He'll meet his friends like dressed up as somebody else, because like he just doesn't he just doesn't trust anybody. So like it becomes, he's kind of one of those gray characters. It's pretty cool. Oh, Sam's gonna try it out. He's gonna try Andor. Yeah, I mean, it's getting kind of a bad rap on some channels online, but I'd like to know what you think of it. Not that I had anything to do with it or anything. It didn't help make it or anything, but I appreciate when things are like real, like realistic, and those sets and stuff were certainly real, because some prop makers, some new things to think about as well. There's some certainly Star Wars looking and feeling items in Andor, that's what someone like me is looking for too. It's like, if I build sabers, I want to build blasters too. I have some blaster electronics. I never actually don't think I ever built a blaster, but I have some blaster parts. I want to eventually build a blaster. But when you're building stuff like these, sabers and stuff, you want inspiration sometimes. So that's another reason why I say, like, for Sam and for his grayscale fonts, it might be fun to, you want to be in the Star Wars world for a little while and like kind of like see technical like hear the Star Wars sounds and live in that world for a few hours. Maybe watch Andor, and then you'll be more in the mood to, like, even though your fonts aren't really Star Wars based anyway, but it puts you in that world, of where there could be sabers. I know there isn't any sabers in Andor. Like, if you're there for sabers, you ain't gonna find any, except for those ones attached to his spaceship, which are more like lasers, I guess. But you're gonna see other cool stuff. You're gonna get something from it, and that sabers are in the world. So it's kind of the same thing like when you watched Solo. If anyone saw Solo, you don't really think sabers are going to be in Solo, but they were. Like, they come in at the very end, like someone turns on a saber. So you just never know, like, because you're in the world, right? You're in that Star Wars world where there is a saber somewhere. There's a saber. Like, there was one part of the show where I thought there was going to be a saber, because at one point I forget who, someone finds something. I forget if it was a guy who has the antique store or hands somebody something. I thought it might have been a lightsaber. I was like, oh no, he's got a lightsaber. But no, they didn't really go there. Yeah, I love some cool sound design. Yeah, I thought it was good. But sometimes, I'm not totally hearing things 100% properly. Like, I remember I was in a restaurant with my friend Kevin. This happened at least twice, where we're eating lunch or something, and he's like, "Oh, do you like this song that's playing?" I didn't even hear a song. I didn't even hear a song. I didn't even know there was a song playing. So I don't have the greatest ears, but I do appreciate sound as much as the next guy. I just have to turn it up a little bit. I can't hear like that low music in a loud restaurant. I can't make out the song, what song it is. Felicia Marie is here. What's going on, Felicia? Felicia is the winner of lightsaber contest from my first comic book printing. Yeah, we had a lightsaber contest and Mundo entered, Felicia entered, and actually Mundo won and then gave his prize to Felicia. So I think it's probably going to be ready in December. I'm trying to have it ready for December. There's actually two winners, Gina and Felicia, and creating them a lightsaber each. So I'm going to probably, I hope it's December. I hope I can get it to you in December. That'll be a lot of fun. So I hope you're having a great Thanksgiving weekend, Felicia and Mundo and Sam and everybody that's here. Yeah, we'll show you. Let's take a look at, where's my buttons here? Let's take a look at a video. I'm going to show you guys a video. This is Ethan Van Sciver. He is a comic book artist. He also just happens to live in New Jersey, same as me, and I sent him a copy of Albatross Junction Volume 1, which came out last year. So let's take a look at what he thought of my comic book. This is just a minute-long video. It's pretty cool.
Albatross Junction. What an incredible book. I'd like to give this my highest recommendation. Albatross Junction by Anthony and Kevin. One of the finest books that Indie Comics has ever produced. I do want to recommend Albatross Junction with all my heart. This is really spectacular. And there's a sketch inside of me being a big fat slob. Cyberfrog over my shoulder, some pie, and it looks like looming death. There's death looming over me here. You guys, I mean, I'll do this anyway. I mean, I will promote your comics. If they look great like that one actually does look, I'd be happy to promote your comics. And I did also get a whole big stack of trading cards. These guys, Andrea went through these and was like, these are beautiful. Why don't your trading cards look this good? And I was like, there are trading cards. We're doing them together. You think you're putting me down. You're putting us down. This is a group effort, sweetheart, and don't you forget it. So good stuff. The book is called Albatross Junction, and I do want to promote that today. Hello, everyone. Hello in the chat.
So I'm going to be adding some more images to this campaign, but if you go to that link in the chat, this is the Indiegogo page for our comic book, Albatross Junction. It is sci-fi comic, takes place in the 29th century. We've got 3 issues out so far. It's got some stuff like Star Wars has, like there's some other planets involved. There's some aliens that come about in Albatross Junction. There are monsters. There are a lot of different technology. There's no lightsabers, but there are some special weapons that we created. There's Materialite weapons. There's Lumi Forge weapons. So you have to check out those in the issues. And this is an ongoing story. It's going to span 200 issues. We have a kind of a long story arc that involves a lot of crazy stuff. And I really think you guys will enjoy the ride. So I hope you check out Albatross Junction issues 1, 2, and 3, which are out right now. They are action-packed. There was one meeting we were having where I was explaining to Kevin how action-packed it was, and I put together the like the sort of the thumbnails, not really the thumbnails, the storyboards, and we were sharing the storyboards, and he goes, "Oh, this this actually is really action packed." Issue 3 is kind of a big fight. Issue 2 is like an entire big fight between one of our main characters and like a giant alien monster. I just love when like heroes and with technology are fighting like just giant monsters. I think that's a lot of fun. So that happens in this book, and it is also a story of survival because everybody is trying to deal with not having a sun. A calamity happened before the story starts, that the sun has been destroyed, and so the world is just in darkness, frozen over. Only thing keeping these people alive are the nanotech in their blood, which kind of enhances their abilities and stuff. So like, if your lips fall off because it's so cold, the nanotech stops you from dying. Their hemobites kind of heals you up a little bit. I mean, you could look kind of creepy and live extra time, like live to like 120, maybe 140 sometimes, some cases. But I mean, it's awful. It's awful because a lot of the people don't want to like survive with all those with all that like torturous daily living. So they've developed special clothing and special technology to stay warm, to keep warm, mainly these artificial suns with which everyone fights over. They're like satellites, and these satellites are circling the planet, and a lot of them have been destroyed, crashed into one another, gone bad. They're hundreds of years old. There's no more way to send up any new satellites, so they have to fight over the sun satellites that are still working. And that's kind of what our story surrounds itself on. Albatross Junction is a story of the factions fighting over the sun satellites, which have the codes that can control them are important as well. And there's some space scenes in the first issue where you see teams of people going up to the sun satellites, trying to repair them, trying to get them to work again, because that's kind of the only way you can stay alive. Now there's certain groups of people that are like underground, getting warmed by like nuclear material underground, getting closer to the Earth's core, let's say. Certain people doing that. There's certain people like over on icebergs and surviving in whatever way that they can by tunneling into the ice to where there is some water still, some ocean underneath, fishing and getting what they can. But it is a pretty horrible place. So our main character, Donovan Cordova, has to fight for survival for all his people, and he's got some like ideas. He's like an inventor. He's like a Elon Musk mixed with like a Mike Tyson type. He's like brains and brawn, and he is trying to find a way out of this. And he does a lot of experiments in his facility in Albatross Junction. So go check that out. It's kind of like it's got some elements of horror in it, mostly sci-fi type of story. So if you like monsters and horror and sci-fi and weapons and future stuff, you might like that. Oh, thank you, Felicia. She says, congrats on the AJ launch, Albatross Junction launch. Thank you. Oh, you're liking the alternate covers. Yeah, so we had like extra art, and rather than let's say put it on the back or put it inside the book, I decided to make alternate covers. So for people that want to see the alternate art, you can pick up the alternate covers, which could be like add-ons to the main order, I think is how we have it set up. So there's different cover art. Like for instance, Kevin did the artwork for issue 3, and then I did an alternate cover. So it'll also be printed with my alternate cover if you guys want like my artwork on issue 3 cover, you can buy the alternate cover. And issue 2, I think, I forget what the alternate cover for that one is, but it might have been one that, I think it's one that Kevin did. So like if Kevin did the main cover, usually I did the alternate cover. Mundo says, later guys, got to do some work before I go back out to hunt. Later, everyone. Good luck, Mundo. Good luck. Be safe out there. Hopefully it's really good weather for you. It's really, really nice over here. It was like supposed to rain yesterday, but it didn't. It was nice. And driving around, going to the mall, Black Friday, chasing deals. I should make I've got Fulcrum Force is making me a video for my comic book. Like he's got a lot of the comic book art. He's going to make a cool video. So I don't have like a true trailer right now. Like the trailer for the original comic wasn't really like, it wasn't it wasn't using the artwork from the comic. It was using some pre-art that we had, and it didn't really quite match like the interior, like, you know, the comic book art itself. It was more so just like a story trailer, just kind of trying to explain the world a little bit, because it, you know, it is a world in the future and stuff. But Jim from Fulcrum Force, my friend here on YouTube, he is making me a video which is going to contain like the actual Albatross Junction art, maybe some kind of cool music to it or something. So we'll have that video soon as well. That should be pretty cool. I'm excited to see that. You know, like maybe something like, you know how the Marvel logo kind of shows the artwork for the comics? That's kind of like what I'm imagining. It'll be something like, you know, artwork will kind of flash by or something. So that'll be cool versus the old trailer. We had a cool voiceover work by Novastar, by Matthew Corrado, but the artwork that I displayed on that trailer wasn't the best, because it was just like something I threw together on my iPad. It wasn't really art that was like made for the book. Yeah. So, you know, I never really thought there would be 3,000 subscribers. So this has been fun celebrating that. You know, when I started back in 2008, it's been a long time on YouTube. I didn't really think that like other people would watch the videos other than their friends on FX Sabers. But as it turns out, like Star Wars got more and more popular. And then when Disney bought Star Wars in 2012 and the movie was being made, The Force Awakens was being made and preparing to come out, it must have been 2014 at that time, the Saber community started to really blow up, right? When they started putting the trailers out of the Graflex and Rey and the saber, Anakin's lightsaber, it was a time where the Saber community got like an influx of like thousands and thousands of saber lovers, and you know, people that wanted a custom lightsaber. So people started to not so much go to the forums as much, but go more to Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. The communities on Facebook became really crazy for custom sabers and sabers like Vader's Vault sabers. And a lot of people got introduced. It must have been the advent of the Pixel coming out as well, Pixel sabers, because it became cheaper to make the really cool scrolling lightsabers that you could really only have. Like that's kind of what I was doing for so many years around 2012 was building the string blades, which is to make the blade go up and down was really, really hard before NeoPixel. You know, you had to get a certain board. You had to get the Plector Labs Crystal Focus LS. You had to get a DIY Eno. You had to get a certain board that you could do the scrolling. But once the movie came out around 2015, was also the same time that NeoPixel came out. So NeoPixel became a lot easier to do. Rather than building a blade from scratch with LEDs, you actually got access to these strips. So the strips made making the blades a lot easier, faster, and more widespread because they got cheaper. And so the effects got really cool. And then not to mention, like, the sound for all the sabers improved with the smooth swing boards. So it really just brought everything to another level. And so I think that that's how the saber stuff just kept growing. And that's how we got to 3,000 subscribers on this channel, because I guess people just like to check out, you know, new LED blade technology. So thank you to everybody that has subscribed. I'm going to show you some new stuff next year as well. Got some new blades in the works. Got some new info for that TriStar Omega I want to talk to you guys about. So we'll do a video of that pretty soon. Grayscale Font says, I got in around 2019 when CF10 was pretty new. It was an awesome time to be a new fan. Yeah, you know who told me about you was my friend Gabe. So Gabe is part of Civilized Sabers. You probably seen him on a Instagram video or whatever. That's really funny that you say you started in 2019, because I think it was right around that time. It was right around then. Like, it must have been right after you started, because I know one of your first fonts was Crispity. You had a couple out at that point, maybe 6 or maybe 2 or maybe 7. You know, it wasn't that many. And Gabe came over and he had one of your fonts on his saber. I think maybe he had 2 or 3 of the fonts. He may have even shown me a video first, and then he come over with the fonts. And he says, "Oh, this guy's making this guy's making these crazy fonts." And that's why I say it's funny that you say you started in 2019, because I could have sworn it was late 2019 because it was certainly no later than like the first month of 2020 that he brought these to me. And he said, "You know the craziest part?" He said the craziest part, you know, they sounded so punchy, they sounded so bassy. These Grayscale fonts sounded so unique. And he said the craziest part is they're free. So that's how I found out about Sam at Grayscale Fonts. Is he made his way to me through Gabe, and because Gabe has a really awesome Genesis custom sabers lightsaber, and it's got, you know, really nice chassis in it with it had a really good speaker at the time. So these Grayscale fonts sounded so good on there, and I had to have them as well. So they didn't sound as good in my saber because I didn't have the good speaker, you know. But eventually I built, like, my new saber has a really good speaker, and my Graflex from Michael Murphy on FX Sabers also has a good speaker. But I eventually put a 31 millimeter speaker in my latest saber, and the sound fonts just sound absolutely crazy on there. Yeah. So I found out about Grayscale definitely before 2020. That's why I thought it was, I thought you were out for maybe, you know, had stuff out for a little longer, but word travels fast. Like when something's good, you know, when something is really unique, when something's really impactful, it travels fast. So news of Grayscale fonts travel to my ears pretty fast, I think. Absolute Sabers, what's going on? Congrats on 3,000 subs, Tony. Thanks, Sam. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, that was cool. Like, and Crispity still continues to be like my my favorite of the grayscale fonts, although I love some of the newer ones a lot too. Yeah, like we're actually going to come out with a font. We have a font ready on Civilized Sabers. I'm just trying to figure out I didn't start trying to figure out this yet, but I started thinking about it where I was like, how do I put it on the website? How do I get the customer the digital file? You know, like I on my website Civilized Sabers, I sell like physical products, and I think that there's a option on there to sell something digital. So I have to figure that part out, and I have to look into it. And if I can't figure it out, I'll probably ask Sam or something how to do it, like how to like what kind of website I need or something. But I think I might have the capability to do it. And Jedi Arms Dealer made us a font, so it's going to be available soon. I just don't know how soon. And he's like totally all done with it. I was playing with it on a few. I think the last couple live streams I was playing with it. It's really cool. So I just got to figure out how to like put it online and how to like actually get it out to you guys. So, and then there's a couple other ideas that we had for fonts, and I started noticing like that idea that I had was kind of being like other people had that idea at the same time, you know, kind of more like melodic or more like songs, like fonts that were more like songs. I started to hear that happen more. Like I'm following a lot of people on YouTube that make sound fonts and stuff, and I started to see like that idea kind of, once you have an idea, it's not only you, right? A lot of people in the world, like 3 or 4 people, are gonna have that idea at the same time. So maybe more. So when I was thinking about, we were talking about these like more melodic, more song-like sound fonts that could, because I think would go well with Smooth Swing. It's something that's hadn't been available forever. Now that Smooth Swing is available, there's a lot of doors that have opened, like sound-wise. Like you can do some crazy things, from making a sound font for the saber itself, I think, all the way to maybe even like having the sound font almost be like, an audiobook where maybe a different story comes out depending on the movements you make with the saber, right? I'm not sure, but there is lots of different things you could do with the way the fonts are sequenced and the way that they come out of the lightsaber, the way that they're played, because you can mess with those sequences, and also the capabilities of the motion detection and what plays and when, and the fact that if you have a button for auxiliary, that opens up some more options for like what sounds come out. I mean, people like Sam at Grayscale Fonts already know this, but just kind of letting you all know that, there's like lots of possibilities now with these new boards that do the smooth swing, because the way that smooth swing works inside the lightsaber is like it's adaptable. So like things can be changed depending on what you desire to come out like sound wise. So it's like a lot of doors opened up with smooth swing. People like Grayscale Fonts are taking advantage of that, and just the creativity that you can do. There's a lot of things that you could do with that type of technology. So it's pretty cool. And like we've got some Civilized Sabers ones being developed as well along those lines. It's kind of like experimental, but this first one that we're doing is the first one that's going to come out is more of a I guess you could call it more of a standard style font like you'd expect. It's called Power. So it's got all the quotes when people say power in the movies, which is way more than you think they say. That a lot of the different characters say power. in places you don't remember. But it's pretty cool. So Jedi Arms Dealer's got like this very powerful font that he made us called Power. It's got some cool quotes and stuff. I'll have to get it out there. Have to get it out there pretty soon. Felicia says, that sounds like a TikTok I saw about how stormtroopers communicate via hand movements. Their dialogue changes. Yeah. Like it like when you think about the capabilities of like the soundboard nowadays, it's pretty intense on like what's possible. It could almost be anything you want, you know. It could almost do anything. Like these new you know, for instance, the Profi board, while you're playing with your lightsaber, like this was a dream for a while, that when you're playing with the lightsaber, could you also have music playing? You could do it now. You just hit the power button for like a second. You have a Profi board, a track starts playing. You turn on the saber, you start playing with the saber. It's lots of things are possible now. So, you know, when you think about, there could be a background track, there could be all these different sounds that could be warped because of the smooth swing. It's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy stuff is possible. Okay, well, I think I am going to wrap this up. I want to thank you all for stopping by and talking to me on this Saturday. It's been a lot of fun. Can't really believe that the channel is up to 3,000 subscribers. That is hard to understand for me. But that is a lot of fun. We're definitely going to do some more live streams like this, and I think the next one that I'll do though will be on my other channel. So if you're not already subscribed to Orange Book Comics LLC, right now there's about 90 subscribers over there. I think because there's another channel I just noticed called Orange Book. They must have copied us or something, but they have a lot more subscribers than we do over there. But their name is also, see, because we did a search for Orange Book Comics and we even turned it into a LLC, so we registered the name. But then just last week I saw that there was like Orange Book Comics, so someone must have changed their name to Orange Book Comics. But they have like about 3,000 subscribers, and my channel has like less than 100. So if you're looking for my channel, it's the one with less subscribers, and it's the one with the Albatross Junction videos on it and stuff. So go subscribe to Orange Book Comics, and that's where I'll be live streaming with Mundo on Monday night. And also Kevin's going to be there too. We're going to talk about a comic book. If you guys are into comics, come over there. We're going to maybe do a review of Kozor, which is another indie comic that I got from the Barton brothers in Australia. That's a fun one. I just started reading it. It's got really, really good art. So we're probably going to talk about that because Kevin also has a copy of that. So we're going to probably, you know, do a review of that. We'll talk about our comic, talk about some other comic stuff, and that'll be on our comic book channel, Orange Book Comics. And I think that's about it. So thank you for hanging out. I hope you guys have a really, really awesome rest of the weekend. Still a lot of time left in this Thanksgiving weekend. You can go out there and enjoy something. Don't forget to check out my comic book link. And I will talk to you guys in the next video. Thanks so much.